Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to Fenny for the Soul. So, today's story is a maritime story. It's a story on the ship called the MS Berge Stahl, a one time largest dry cargo ship in the world. Between 1986 and 2011, it was the largest ship on the oceans. The story is a interview with Captain Avinash Moghe, and Captain Avinash Moghe of Pune commanded this wonderful ship for 10 long years. And Captain Moghe also worked with the Bergesen Norwegian company for 37 long years. That's the only company he worked for. So it's a fascinating story. Sit back and enjoy the. So, good morning, Avi Dada.
Hey, good morning, Rahul.
So, what a lovely setting. We are on, friends, we are on Benolim beach, rather Wadi beach, which is the, younger sibling of the Benolim beach. And it's a lovely setting where you see fishing, you can see here a fishing boat on its way back. I'll zoom in to show you that. Yeah, there's a fishing boat coming back after its several hours of fishing. It's coming back. It's a lovely beach, Wadi beach, and it's an ideal setting, I felt, to talk to a merchant navy captain. And as you heard my introduction, you already know his background. So Avidada, I wanted to ask you, you grew up in landlocked Nagpur, and how come you chose a career in the merchant navy?
Number one, frankly, firstly, good morning. It's such a good feeling to be close to sea again. And I'm coming here after a long time. Talking about how I landed in merchant navy. I always wanted to join shipping. Even in NCC, I was Best Cadet India. In 69, I was Best Cadet India 72. And appeared for all the NDA and Indian Navy exams, and during those exam and interviews, SSBs, I got to know about merchant navy, and that is when I got the addresses, and I tried, and I finally got selected by a Norwegian company with whom I sailed for 37 years. So wow. I never changed my company, but basically it was always a warship, and later on I got more fascinated with merchant navy. So yes, and I was one of the first few from place like landlocked area called Nagpur to be in merchant navy. So,
fascinating, yeah. So you like I've told the my friends, the audience, in the introduction, that you are possibly the the only Indian merchant navy captain to have captained the largest merchant navy vessel in the world, the Berge Stahl. So how did you land that job in the first place to be captain of Berge Stahl?
Well, it was not that immediately I was posted on that vessel. Before going on Berge Stahl, I was on Berge Land, which was then the second largest dry cargo ship in the world.
Yeah.
And I sailed on that ship for 9 years. And then I was promoted and posted on Berge Stahl. And I served on Berge Stahl for 10 years, 10 full years. And But prior to that, I have been master on so many other. I started off with we call it Panamax, the 80,000 tonner, and slowly rose, ultimately commanding Berge Stahl. So there were a couple of other ships I commanded, and at the end of when I finally decided to retire, I had 22 years of command experience.
Oh, wonderful. So I wanted to know, so you joined this Norwegian company as a 20-year-old?
No, as a cadet I was 18.
18. So you joined the Norwegian company as an 18-year-old cadet.
That is correct.
And you worked 37 years with them.
37 years.
Wow. Fascinating. So till 55, age 55, right? Yeah. So now tell me, this your experiences, some anecdotal, references from the Berge Stahl, because there's so many anecdotes you already shared with me in private.
You see, Berge Stahl was a very special ship because not only the largest dry cargo, but the only ship of that mammoth size, a Leviathan, which would touch the shores where the local people or anybody could walk in after proper clearances. Otherwise, as far as tankers are concerned, people don't get to see them because of various issues. Very rarely they come alongside, Whereas this one, we always used to come to Rotterdam, and because of its size and shape and draft, Berge Stahl could go to only two ports in the world. One was Rotterdam and the other one was in Brazil called Ponta da Madeira. Both berths were built specially for Berge Stahl because of its draft of 23.02 meters.
I'm very keen to hear some anecdotes as we walk along this Wadi beach. Some anecdotes, memorable anecdotes from Berge Stahl.
So many of them because...
So tell us, to begin with, typically we lay people want to know one stormy night.
It's very... I don't know whether you would believe in me, but if I tell you that I've had the Queen of Belgium on board and then the Prince of Rotterdam on board, Prime Minister of Australia on board, President of Brazil coming on board, so much so that Australian Prime Minister, he came on board and he launched a postal stamp in name of Berge Stahl. It is available in Australia even today. I believe, I was told at that point of time that Berge Stahl is the only sailing ship having a postal stamp. Why?
Wow.
Because after dry dock in China, instead of taking ship empty back to Brazil, we decided to load little cargo because it could not take full cargo in Australia. That is when we went to Australia. But during that time, we never realized that we were the largest ship ever to touch Australian continent. And to commemorate that arrival, the government came out with the postal stamp, and the inauguration happened on board.
On board the ship.
And then, of course, it was a wonderful feeling. But having, let's say, ambassadors or mayors and dignitaries coming on board, it was very common because everybody wanted to come on the largest vessel and enjoy the Norwegian hospitality.
Wonderful. Anything else you would like to tell us from your sailing with the Berge Stahl?
Arrival in Rotterdam used to be a very
special
occasion, which also nicely explained in National Geographic documentary on Berge Stahl in the program called Mega Structure.
Okay.
And also in Mega Mover, I believe it was shown for nearly 12 years.
Wow.
So the National Geographic people have explained nicely what difficulties the ship had in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
So much so that the so-called conning tower, the port control, where the ships are being controlled, when they were interviewed, they were told that they would not like to be on duty when Berge Stahl is coming in port because there is too much of tension on those guys. And it was at the end of the day when finally you are alongside and safe and sound, that feeling was amazing. Same was the case even in Brazil, where we would load the ship and then bring the ship out to the sea. It was a 54-mile channel without any local assistance. That means no pilots, no tugboats. So the master had to do everything. And even within the channel, there were a couple of spots where we would have about 1 to 2 meter clearance. So imagine that carrying almost 500,000 tons of dead weight, and you are having a clearance of just about a meter, sometimes meter and a half. You know, so we had to be very precise with the tide in order to have that kind of clearance. So the calculation had to be very precise.
Wow.
And end of the day, finally, when we are at sea, the feeling was always of the highest order.
Fantastic. So Avidada, you have also told me that you had the largest merchant navy ship in the world. You had a small crew of 23.
Yes.
And so how was that possible, and how did you
believe in me? This was one of the first merchant marine cargo ship which was fully computerized at the time of its delivery, that is 1986. And normally crew were so professional that they would work their normal 8 to 5 o'clock routines. And being the largest and being the crown of Norway, because it had a Norwegian flag, the maintenance was of the highest order. And it was absolutely fun walking and working on this vessel, because every person who would come on board, the first reaction would be that can't believe that this is a cargo ship. You know, so much so that we were so proud of our engine room that we would tell people to clean their shoes or remove their shoes or put the covers on before they go in the engine room, because the engine room is so clean, spotlessly clean, that we don't want to disturb the cleanliness.
Wow.
And it was absolute pleasure working 10 years on that ship.
The other question that comes to my mind is that most of your crew was Indian, you told me, right?
No. When I started, we had mixed Norwegian, British, even Filipinos and Indians. But slowly, and the reason, frankly, I can tell you now, there was a time when the Norwegians thought that only they could manage this ship. I was the first chief officer to go on that ship, and then of course first Indian master. But Indians are good at computers, so it was not easy for our officers also to do a good job and take over. And then slowly, in order to reduce the cost of running, I made it 100% Indian. And I would say that last 6 years of my tenure, we had full Indian crew working on the largest dry cargo ship in the world.
Wow. So would you say that Indians intrinsically have a knack for sailing, because we have such a long coastline peninsula, and we are rediscovering, of course, our sailing all over again. But as merchant navy sailors, Indians have a edge. You think so?
I definitely would say that we have had that edge, but as of today, because of economic reasons, other nationalities are slowly taking over because they are coming on lower wages. So it's all a question of finally the bottom line, the money. You know, like there was a time when we relieved the Norwegians and the Europeans who were actually ruling at one point of time, simply because we were working on a lesser salary. Mind well, they were paying 50% taxes in Norway and I was paying no tax because I was NRI. So, lesser wages on paper, but take home money probably would have been same. And today, the Chinese or the Latvians and so many other nationalities, they are coming into it and they are working on lesser salaries. But Indians are, in my opinion, I've never had any problem with Indian crew. Never.
So, you prematurely retired, at 55, because there are merchant navy captains who are sailing till 65 and 67 years of age.
Yeah.
But you decided to call it quits at 55. So do you miss the sea and the ships at this stage?
I don't miss in the sense that I've had so much of fun because
37 years of a career. Yeah.
number one, working with Norwegians, working on the best of the ships, best of the technology, and it gives you an edge, you know. And more importantly, my wife always used to be with me most of the time. So having family on board, working 3 months on the ship, taking a 3-month vacation, I have seen it all. And then secondly, by the time I finished 10 years on Berge Stahl, a ship bigger than that, company decided to build in China, and I was interested, the authority or rather the job to supervise. So under my supervision and of course a team of good about 200 odd people, company people, we constructed that ship in China. I was in China for 7 months, and then like any other new ship, there could be initial problems, initial hiccups. So company requested me to continue on that ship. Also the chief engineer, who was also during the construction, was with us. So we continued on. Then the company asked me to take over that ship as long as I want. But nevertheless, I worked for 1 year when everything was under control. That's when I decided that 23 years of command, I have earned enough money. My expectations, my normal lifestyle is very normal. So definitely we can manage. And then we decided to have free time in order to do things which we always wanted to do. And that's what we are doing, and no regrets at all.
Fantastic. So one last question. What is your advice to young mariners, young mariners, young people wanting to take to the sea?
Not just mariners, but to every person, every youngster, I say that if you're joining a job or doing a job, if you're not doing it in totality with complete interest, don't do it. You're doing injustice to the job, you're doing injustice to yourself. There are people who come to merchant navy for sake of money. They never succeed. If you're not interested, if you're not willing to do the sacrifice, there is a lot of sacrifice. If you're not willing to do the sacrifice, which is there in every profession, and if you're going to crib, and if you're going to cry, and if you're going to say that the other side is greener, I think it is better you don't join. As long as you have that feeling, that approach towards life, I think every job is beautiful,
Wonderful.
And merchant navy, in my opinion, tell me one thing: how otherwise I would have seen over 100 countries?
Yeah. True.
Not possible. So there is a lot of positive, there is a lot of negative.
Yeah.
But accept it. Otherwise, don't join.
Thank you so much, Avidada. A pleasure talking to you.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.